show. I realize this thing is falling off, so I'm not even going to bother having my nose strip on. Wore that last night. I'm going to put it in the side pocket of my backpack. So welcome to the show. I'm outside of Morgan Stanley. Well, here, let me get a... You guys can see the dump. There we go. Now we don't see just the dumpster. Well, I mean, I'm a dumpster. But so we're outside of Morgan Stanley. And the reason we're doing this, not to protest, nothing like that. I just want to talk about investment banking. I think that's what Morgan Stanley is for the most part. I mean, I think they help people with investments figure shit out. I think they even give out loans. Truth is, all I know is they were a major part of the '08 crash. Now, I love the '08 crash because it was really funny. Now, not funny for anybody who lost their jobs or anything. That sucks. What I'm saying is there was a level of irony to all of it. It all started out really with mortgage-backed securities. Now, they're not necessarily the problem. The problem was the levels of fraud. Now, I'm actually not against mortgage-backed securities. I think they're not a bad vessel. But the problem was there was just too much fraud. They were rating a lot of these bonds higher than they should have been. It wasn't Morgan Stanley who did it. It was more like, I think, if I'm right, like Standards & Poor's, they rated them pretty highly. What's that? Fair Isaac, I think, does ratings. I can't remember all the ratings ones. I'm a little dumb. But at the same time, I'm a little smart, too. So the thing is, there was a lot of fraud. They were rating these companies a little higher than they should have rated them. So, yeah. And, I said I'm demanding a refund. Well, I'm going to pretend to demand a refund. I want a refund. There, you satisfied? All right. I don't really want a refund. I just want to get to the truth. So I am kind of curious to see if, like, security or somebody will want to interview with me. Like, I'm not here to cause a scene too well. I do love causing a scene, I ain't going to lie. But I am here to speak. I didn't want to do this on their property because I had a feeling they would probably just kick me off immediately. So, yeah, I want to show the building here. That's Morgan Stanley right there. That's one of the Morgan Stanley buildings. And, I just feel that was a good backdrop considering my show talks about investing all the time. And I got a Morgan Stanley in this area, so I might as well stick to my word and be a fucking turd. But, I nothing against Morgan Stanley. I think they're probably a fantastic company. I don't own any... Well, actually, I take that back. I do own shares of Morgan Stanley through some of the ETFs that I own. But technically, you're not... So the fun fact about exchange-traded funds is that even though that those funds have a basket of all the stocks that you want to be exposed to, you're technically not a shareholder in the sense of, like, you can't really participate in the shareholder meetings last time I checked. Now, unless they've changed that, but yeah, it's not financial advice by any means. But when you're technically an owner of just an ETF that has the company involved, you're not really a full shareholder. Because technically you don't own a full share of that company. So, in a sense, I'm not a real shareholder of Morgan Stanley. I'm like a timeshare guy. But no, I do. My portfolio is riddled with tons of index ETFs, mainly because I like the fact that each of them pay a dividend at different times. But I will say, if it wasn't for exchange traded funds, I wouldn't be able to be exposed to things like bonds and what's the other one? Bonds and commodities. I love being exposed to commodities, and ETFs actually do give you a little bit of balance there. And always not financial advice traditionally. Man says hello, hi, welcome to the live stream, everybody. This is the show. We're basically just sitting outside of Morgan Stanley. I'm a crisscross applesauce, and talking about some investment principles. I figure it's a good backdrop, by the way. And it's just this local branch that's here in. I need to do like stuff like this outside of banks. I think that'd be perfect. And doing a place like Morgan Stanley's even more brilliant. So I got my notes. Well, I don't know if you can call these notes. This is more like bullshit. But, maybe we might be able to talk to an employee that goes on a smoke break or something. You know what I mean? So if we're lucky, we might get an interview. I don't really care about their dirty little secrets. I could care less about that shit. But I am curious because I think that on my channel, I'm trying to teach everybody to act more like a bank and not do what the bank tells you to do, but do what the bank does with your money. And I think that's the one thing that people don't realize is that it's not talked about enough that you can do for the most part, what banks do. So like if every time you put your money in a checking account or a savings account, the bank is not doing what they're telling you to do with their money, right? They're telling you to put it in a savings account. You get whatever yield you get, whether it's a high yield, low yield. Technically, though, they don't actually keep up with inflation. So, I mean, if you want a high yield savings account, just if you don't know what to do with the money at the moment, maybe you're saving it for a bear market, maybe you're just like, I just want to get a yield. Personally, for me, I just get bond ETFs, so that's about it. Because they usually have pretty high, decent yields. And do they grow? No, I'm not the biggest fan of bonds because there is, here's the thing. You get a guaranteed yield through a bond, which is nice, for the most part, guaranteed. The easiest way for me to get exposed to bonds was really just exchange traded funds. It was really the thing for me, and that was the best part. But being in front of a place like Morgan Stanley is kind of inspiring to a degree, because we live in an age now where a schmuck like me can invest just like a bank, and I think a lot of banks don't talk about that. They don't talk about that you can invest just like them. There's really nothing holding anybody back anymore. There used to be some barriers. There used to be like commission fees that you'd have to pay, for instance, through brokerage accounts. That was always annoying. But yeah, and I'm not much, although I will say being in the market to any degree is really, really important. So if you can be in stocks, if you can be even just through ETFs or even a Roth IRA, 401k, I don't really care what you're into, just get into something. And because staying in the market's more important, because cash, if you think about it, is utterly worthless. My motto is, if the government prints it, you just gotta say no. There's two things I say no to saving. That's meth and it's cash. And fuck both of those. But anyway, you save your assets, not your money is probably the greatest battle cry of this show. Simple, I'm gonna repeat it. Save your assets, not your money. But that's really the boiling point of the show, is just always try to rack up on assets. Everybody, all the rappers are like racking up big dollar bills, big dollar bills. It's like, that shit's bullshit. You don't want to rack up dollar bills. You want to rack up motherfucking assets to make you asset. I'm a rapper. I'm the greatest white rapper in the US of A, but all my homeboys, they think that I'm gay, and I don't know why. I'm that kind of guy. Because I'm so fly. I'm riding on high. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm not a good rapper, but I do sound extremely Caucasian when I say that shit. I just love saying Caucasian because I hear the word cock in there, and that's about it. But yeah, overall, investing's so much fucking fun. I'm a boring investor. I'm very long-term with my entire portfolio. However, 20% of it, only 20%, roughly, maybe sometimes it gets up to 25 depending on circumstance, is swing traded. And it's only 3 ETFs. And I've taught you guys this before. This is just for educational purposes, not financial advice. Obviously, talk to a financial advisor. Oh, look behind me. You could talk to Morgan Stanley. Talk to Morgan Stanley, see if what I'm saying is correct. And they may not agree with me on this. They may think, why would you actively trade? Because they would probably actually tell you that a mutual fund is better than actively trading part of your portfolio. I love actively trading part of it. And it's only 3 ETFs that I trade. Everything else. So I prioritize 3 ETFs only. And you could have as many ETFs as you really want to that you swing trade, but you have to designate what is swing traded and what is a long-term investment. Now, like I said, 3 ETFs that take up about 15, 20, 25% of the portfolio are swing traded. And these are ETFs that I feel comfortable enough buying on the dip, and because I know that they're worth it, buying on the dip and then selling on the high. So 2 of them happen to bet against Bitcoin because Bitcoin's stupid, right? Anything that is pro Bitcoin, I bet against it completely. It is the biggest Ponzi scheme that you could ever imagine. And I will say this: if Morgan Stanley's promoting crypto, I'm a sad boy, dude. I'm sad because I really had high hopes for them, But now everybody seems to be promoting this Ponzi scheme. I think even fucking JP Morgan. I don't think he is the CEO. Well, I mean, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase or whatever. I hope he's not pro crypto now, because it's like, just because the price of something goes up over time does not necessarily mean that it actually has intrinsic value. Bitcoin has 0 intrinsic value, and when I say 0, I'm gonna put a fat motherfucking 0 on there, right? And it's just pointless. It's garbage, and it's I'd love to say that overall, just don't support Ponzi schemes is all I'm trying to tell you. Ponzi schemes are bad, so I bet against Ponzi schemes, and I've actually made a handsome amount of money off of it because, well, when Bitcoin goes up like a stupid roller coaster, anything that volatile, also anything with that lack of intrinsic value, only idiots get into it, right? That's why it goes up so rapidly. It's not because it's as value at all. It's because enough dummies see it going up and they're like, oh, I don't want to miss out on that. And then what happens is, once it becomes overvalued enough, that's when goes down. So as it's going up, I do like a trickle buy. I trickle buy the S-bit. So I'm like, okay, S-bit, well, I see you're going down in value, so I'm going to buy you because you're basically a vessel for me that'll allow me to profit off the downfall of Bitcoin. It's pretty easy to predict the downfall of Bitcoin because anytime it goes up to like 100,000 or 120 or whatever, eventually a massive sell-off happens because a lot of people that get into it don't really have confidence in it. They know it's gambling garbage. And the point I'm trying to make is, I bet against the garbage. I bet against the trash. And Bitcoin is garbage. It is digital, like Charlie Munger said, digital turds. I completely agree with the motherfucker. So yeah, S-bit though, and the biddy, plus the biddy. I pretty much swing trade the S-bit for the most part. I kind of keep the biddy as kind of backup. But yeah, those are the two ETFs that actually get me the most in a swing traded sense. The other one that I do is the SCHX, mainly because it's an easy one to swing trade because of the low price markup. And honestly, it's basically, I call it the S&P 500. It's basically the S&P 500 plus like 200 extra large cap companies that decided to meld into the index. And I feel safe enough with that type of index to buy that kind of index on the dip, because I love large cap companies. There's usually a reason that they're graded so high by the market typically, but you still want to be a little diversified when you're swing trading any sort of product. So ETFs are great to swing trade because it's not just one company. There's several companies that make up the whole damn index. So those are the three ones I swing trade. I basically swing trade 2 leveraged ETFs that allow me to, like I said, profit off the downfall of Bitcoin. And then one that allows me to, if a bear market happens, I buy into the bear market. And then as it goes back up, I kind of trickle sell a little bit on the S&P 500-esque ETF that I have. I call it the S&P 500-esque because, like I said, it's S&P 500 and then like 200 extra motherfucking companies that they add to it. I do love Schwab though. I'm a huge fan of Charles Schwab. I have Schwab as a brokerage account, and then I got Robinhood, but Robinhood's kind of like I prefer the Charles Schwab one, but I will give Robinhood props. They were the pioneers of making it to where there was no commission fees on trades or whatever. Me personally, I'm a long-term investor, so anytime I buy something, I hate commission fees. So if I can avoid a commission fee, I'll avoid it like the plague. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As long as I'm buying whatever I'm buying at the current market value. And even then, I really don't truly care what the market says something is. If I know that what I'm getting into is naturally valuable and has real earnings, all that good stuff, I'm pretty much set. I'm happy about it. But yeah, so it's let's see, S&P 500, 200. So yeah, like those are the only three ETFs, and I got hundreds of motherfucking ETFs in my portfolio. It's insane. And I usually just buy them a share at a time. I'll just buy one share of this ETF if I know it's good, if I know it has good holdings in it, if it's backed by like Vanguard or Spider or BlackRock or whatever, that sort of thing. And I'll also buy individual stocks too. I'm not I'm not just an ETF guy. I have multiple ETFs. I've got multiple individual stocks. I'm about as diversified as they can come, and that's kind of the battle cry of this channel. Two main concepts, by the way, for this channel. Two big things that this channel talks about. Income is the outcome. I cannot stress this enough. I love writing this down because I like crystallizes it even more in my bloody soul. Income is the outcome. That's so, like I said, how do I meet the income is the outcome criteria? Well, one, there are two ways to get income from my portfolio. So 80% of my portfolio is long-term holdings, and that pays me a dividend, right? So if that's paying me a dividend, more power to me. I'm getting dividends like every day because I have so many different ETFs. I've got so many different individual stocks that I hold for the long term that it just ends up working, which is awesome. I get lots and lots of dividends, man. I'm all about the dividend life. Now, dividends are taxed. I will say that. That's the only annoying thing about them. But if it's a qualified dividend, I mean, you don't get taxed that hard on dividends, so I could care less if I get taxed on it, if I'm going to be truthful with you guys. And now you're probably wondering, do I do dividend reinvesting? I reinvest dividends, but in a different way. So what I do, instead of taking the dividend that I receive and trying to reinvest it into the same thing that I already have, I take the dividends that I've accumulated over that month and I funnel them into some other investment medium, maybe some other ETF or some other individual stock that I may not have holdings of, that I'm like, why don't I have holdings of this? Or why don't I have this ETF? It's not bad at all. Or maybe it's just a different variation of the same ETF that I have, but it pays a dividend at a different date. The whole point of my portfolio is to get dividends whenever the hell I can, like dividends all day freaking long. And then, so income is the outcome. That's a big deal. So my portfolio constantly gives me income. And that's 80% of its long-term holdings, by the way. The other 20%, I'm swing trading. I'm swing trading like a crazy maniac. I'm basically, I have three ETFs, just three lousy little ETFs that I personally love to swing trade because I feel comfortable enough to buy them on a low and then sell them on a high because they're actually worth it. So is it worth it? Yeah, to do what I do? I mean, talk to a financial advisor. This is just my own personal opinion, my own personal way of investing. But for those of you just tuning in to the live stream, I want to say that I'm outside of Morgan Stanley. I'm not in the front of the building. I'm kind of in the back. And it's fitting because, look, if you notice, you can see the dumpster because they might think my investment philosophies are trash. But I hope they do. I like to think, for the most part, that as long as, here's the thing. Diversification's nice, and I don't ever believe, really, in over-diversification. In fact, if anything, I think diversification, especially across multiple asset classes, is the key, is what I'm trying to say, across all the different asset classes. We're talking, motherfucking commodities, bonds, stocks, you name it, man. Anything that you can get your grubby hands on. Real estate. I love real estate investment trusts. Those are another one that I constantly buy. If I see like a good REIT, REIT is the short form for that. But anytime I see a good real estate investment trust, man, I love to buy. I'm always buying. Oh man, I gotta stretch out my legs. But yeah, sitting like this on this, I feel like sitting like I should have brought a chair, fold out chair or something. That would have been smart. That's what I should start doing, is just bringing a folding chair and going to multiple locations and just chilling out, like I'm doing now. But yeah, we could I don't know if we're gonna get an interview with a Morgan Stanley person or not, but I would love that, even if it was just an employee that, does whatever. I always think I can learn something pretty cool from most people, to be honest. I don't think most people, even though the show's gotten a lot bigger than I ever expected, it's just like, I don't know if most people would actually want to be on this show. This is a crazy, weird show. And, while we talk about investing, we also talk about the Mussy way. Now you could say that my investment style is mussy foo. That's a weird one to say, actually. We call it mussy foo and foo. And I don't know why I call it that. I just wanted to come up with a word. Oh. Yeah. Oh boy. I will admit, sitting on this My butt has been too pampered by cushions. Ah. But yeah, oh boy. Ah. It's kind of crazy. So if we were to talk about a few other things, what else do we want to talk about here? I got random notes. My notebook is full of crazy shit. Let's see. AP datagram. And you know, like I said, this is an inspiring place to sit outside of, because it's like I'm right outside of an investment bank, or for the most part an investment bank. Like I said, it's been a while since I've even really looked into Morgan Stanley and all that they do these days. I know they got all sorts of cool little services, and which is pretty dope. Let me see. Let me check my notes here. But yeah, I was gonna say though, swing trading. I'm a loving fan of swing trading, part of my portfolio, not the whole thing. I think it's kind of madness to swing trade your entire portfolio. I think you want your portfolio to be long term, because you do want it to appreciate over time, and you want to be able to have your dividends appreciate over time. But I will say there is nothing sweeter than having 3 ETFs that could constantly generate income for that long term portfolio. And a lot of the money, by the way, because I swing trade part of my portfolio, I don't ever really have to put in my own money into my investments. So it's a win-win situation for me. What else we got? How much battery power do we got? Oh, we got 66%. I guess I could start charging it though. Oh, I think I might have screwed up my ankle the other day. Got a little bit of pain in the old ankle. Gotta cut some weight. Let's see. Boop. Got my battery. But this is actually really entertaining. Sitting outside of Morgan Stanley though, this is sick. Because I've walked by the place. I've never actually been inside the building though. And maybe they'll invite me, and maybe they'll be like, "Oh wow, you're such a cool dude with your mussy." They might praise the mussy. Maybe they're fans of the show and I don't even know it. Oh. Hold on. I might have actually tweaked my ankle a little bit while sitting in this position. I haven't sat like this in a long time, so I may even have to stand up at some point. Actually, I could. I could just stand up like right here. Just gotta prop this thing up a little bit higher. Probably do it that way. Figure that out. But first, we need to plug this in. Here we go. Yeah, I don't think most employees would want to be interviewed, because it's like, I think that would probably risk their job or something like that. They'd be like, well, you can't interview with a guy like this, because they would represent the company in that instance. So I completely understand if somebody's not willing to be interviewed. Totally get that, because they would be speaking on behalf of Morgan Stanley and all that legality. But that's where I am, man. Morgan Stanley. This is exciting though. Truthfully, this is an exciting moment for the show. We usually don't, we've been kind of going to different places, but I've been wanting to expand the horizons, go to different businesses, and maybe sit close to the businesses and be able to do my thing. I wonder if people think I'm like spying on them. It's probably what they think. Because they probably think that I'm like viewing that shit. But yeah, this is great. It's not often that you get to do a show like this. And I am very honored that I'm an uninvited guest to Morgan Stanley in their backyard. Like I said, I made sure that the dumpster was in good view of the camera, because I look like a dumpster fire right now. But yeah, I'm loving this. This is great. And this is what the show is about. We go where we want. Usually like a public parking lot like this is great because we're basically right next to Morgan Stanley. Like right, there's a small little narrow road, as you can see behind me, and then there's all of this. So, but thank you, Morgan Stanley, for being the backdrop of this video. Now, would I ever use Morgan Stanley personally? I'd invest in them, sure, absolutely. I'd throw some money down. I don't know if I actually have a share of them or not. I haven't looked at any of their balance sheets though. You know, I think the last time I even knew what Morgan Stanley was doing, it was back during the '08 financial crisis, and you know, I don't know what they do anymore. They probably hold. I think they probably hold a lot of accounts here, at least locally. You know what I mean? Like, so it's an interesting little branch. Let's see. Chris Domino says, I was blessed enough to buy $200.50 when Bitcoin first came out. Smart man. I mean, look, I think Bitcoin's stupid, but hey, if you get into something early and it's not too expensive and you think people might be dumb enough to get into it, then absolutely. I still think Bitcoin has zero intrinsic value, nothing, no value. It's a scam. Bitcoin's a scam, dude. You know, it's a warning that I give to everybody, man. Don't think that your investment's safe on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has, like, you know, if you invest, I'll give you an example. If you invest at least in like an S&P 500 index or something, you at least know that the companies within that index, for the most part, the majority of them, are pretty much handpicked by Standard & Poor's, basically. And you know that what you're getting into is I wouldn't say a safe investment. Nothing is ever truly safe, but through diversification, you do have a bit of a security blanket. Now, do you get a lot of growth out of a large cap ETF? Oh, sorry, a large cap index like S&P 500? I mean, you get decent growth. Growth is growth. Even if it's tiny, as long as it keeps up with inflation for the most part, that's good. And that's why I love productive assets like stocks, because it's a hedge against inflation, especially if you're diversified enough. And yeah, I'm a big fan of large and medium cap. I do have exposure to small cap through different various small cap ETFs, but that's about it. When it comes to market capitalization, though, I'm all about large cap and medium cap for the most part. Medium cap, I think, you know, my goal really is always just to be diversified. But here's the thing. I love being diversified, not just in U.S. stocks. I'm all about international, too. So my portfolio consists of several ETFs that also give me direct exposure to international companies, which is nice. I'm gonna note that down. International. So, yeah, my entire stock portfolio really is just a variety of different U.S. stock ETFs that are index based. I don't really have a lot of actively managed ETFs in my portfolio. Not gonna lie, not many. I do have some covered call ETFs. Those are kind of nice. They bring a little bit of extra fun income to the portfolio, but outside of it, though, really most of the money I get is through the swing trading, and just 20% of the portfolio, and then, like I said, the other 80% is just buy and hold for the long term and never sell. And if you stay diversified enough, you can kind of really never have to look at your portfolio. The only time I look at my portfolio is I look at those 3 ETFs that I'm swing trading, and that's about the extent of it. I don't really take any more time outside of that. We're already 30 minutes in, and I will tell you what, my legs are getting a little tired. We're 30 minutes into this, but I'm gonna stand up for a bit. Oh. You guys are gonna see my mussy. Oh. All right, there we go. Now I could stand this up if I were to stand right here. Could do a stand-up show. Could actually stand up, do this shit. Which, you know what? I'm willing to try that right now. I will actually have to remove this real quick. Get that down here. Okay, that's already in. Good. That should work. Maybe. All right, let's see here. Boom, there we go. Sitting down on that gravel was getting my ass all nasty. My ass is already nasty. I don't want it to get any worse. All right, let's see here. All right, should be able to stand right about down low. Here we go. Kind of level. But yeah, so this is the good shit. This is the life I lead. I stand in front of different businesses and talk. It's not much of a show though, but it is sexy. And but overall, Morgan Stanley, I would not say they're an inspiration for what I do, that's for sure, but I do think that they're pretty cool. Even though I don't really, I think they're cool in the sense that they had a big part of what to do. They had a big part in the I mean, there was a lot of moving parts in the housing crisis, but overall, I think, I mean, I still think mortgage-backed securities are not a bad idea. I just think it was stupid to give out tons of mortgages to people who really couldn't afford them. And then the other thing that was very frustrating was the ratings agencies were the biggest issue with me, because it's like they were looking through this data, and they were like, well, shit, if we don't give this a good rating, they're going to go to the people across the street. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a shitty game to play, man. I mean, I kind of don't envy. It's funny because all the ratings agencies are all in cahoots well, I wouldn't say cahoots, in competition, which honestly, when you have rating agencies in competition with each other, it's like, you know, what do you do then? All right. But yeah, overall, I think if there's one thing I do that allows me to invest at a high level, it is to be contrarian. I have a motto that I live by, that if everybody's doing it, it's probably bad for you. That's probably the best advice I ever received. But I was already a contrarian before that, but it really solidified the fact that I was on the right path the whole time. And especially in investing, man, I'll tell you what, dude, doing the exact opposite of what everybody else is doing has made me a lot of fucking money. So I'll give you an example. I used the example earlier. Everybody gets into Bitcoin like a moron, right? Then here I am, I'm betting against it because Bitcoin's stupid as shit. And then here I am, boop, getting 10, 20% gains because Bitcoin then crashes because it has no intrinsic value. So betting against something stupid like Bitcoin is great. I love betting against trash, and Bitcoin is garbage. But yeah, overall, I feel like I got kind of a Steve Irwin vibe a little bit, you know? Crikey, I'm outside of an investment bank. Look, I got my shorts on. Now, we gotta be real quiet. We'll be real quiet here. I can't do an Australian accent to save my fucking life. But here's the point I'm trying to make. Morgan Stanley's pretty tight. I'll say that right now. I'll use the vernacular of my generation or whatever. Tight. Cock. I like that this kind of, if I get lower, I'm like, boom. Stand up right here. But yeah, overall, this is the show today. I mean, I'll probably do other shows today if I get bored enough. But yeah, today's my day off, and today I actually, you know, I'm kind of glad I'm on vacation. I got kind of bored though. I was like, oh, there's only so much. You know, I already don't own a lot of shit, so there's really nothing to minimize at this point. And then I was like, well, I want to be outside because it's fucking sunny as shit, and I love being outdoors during spring and summer. But I'm under a tree right now, for the most part, good shading. Actually, good shading from that tree right there. But yes, I got the Captain Morgan stance going on. Got a little captain in you. But let's see if I can align that properly. But yeah, overall, I mean, I could go in there and ask what they have to offer for a person like me. I don't know if they allow cameras in there, though. I don't think they would allow a live stream of some idiot like me asking questions. But it would be fun. My man, dude. My man. Sweet, cool dude. Like there's a dude on with red cap. He's looking good. Damn it. I want to interview that man. Fuck the investment bankers. I don't really care about an interview. I want to interview that man. But yeah, no, investing the way I do, it's long term. It's boring. But you don't really need a Morgan Stanley to invest the way that I do. You just need to be a long-term investor, stay diversified. I mean, they're going to tell you the same bullshit. I'm just telling it to you for free. You can get a brokerage account. You can get a Roth IRA, 401k. I don't really care what the hell you get. Just honestly, investing is a good. I won't tell you what to invest in. I'll tell you what I invest in, though. That's the best part about it. But yeah, it's fun using Morgan Stanley as a backdrop for a show because I never been in this building, and but Morgan Stanley, baby. All I can ever think of is Morgan Stanley of the '08 financial crash. That's the only thing I could ever think of. And good thing they survived. They were probably smart and they hedged their bets properly, I think, is what most likely happened. You hedge your bets properly, you're good. I think that they also ahead of time knew what was happening. Like they understood that the market was going to slowly collapse. Not the market, but the housing market. Because they knew that the mortgage-backed securities were garbage, right? And no, like I said, I'm not against mortgage-backed securities. I'm against giving tons of mortgages to people who could not afford them. There was a lack of fiduciary responsibility in that by a lot of the banks that were giving out these loans. And now, did Morgan Stanley play a part? I don't actually blame them if they bet against these mortgage-backed securities. I don't know if they did. I can't remember who got bailed out, what happened. History's a little fuzzy, but it's really fun. I love doing a little bit of a piece. It's fun using Morgan Stanley as a backdrop because I invest like an institutional entity, but I look like I'm on meth, and that's the most important thing. Is first off, wealth whispers, and you got to look like you're on meth for the most part, and I do. I got my cool little sexy coat on. I got this on, and we're ready. But yeah, I would love to interview, but I don't know if anybody's willing to to talk to me on it. But I would love to talk to a Morgan Stanley investment banker, kind of just pick their brain, really. It would be fun. I would love to just interview them on the show. I think people can learn a lot. Because there's a lot of things I could learn from these guys probably that I don't even know. There's a lot of terminology I'm probably totally unaware of because my investment style is so fucking boring. And I keep it boring. I keep it diversified. Oh yeah, also, we're all over the place today on this show, but I was talking about earlier, we went over the first key that income is the outcome. I always believe that. So my portfolio always produces some sort of income, whether it's through dividends or whether it's part of it being swing traded. So there's that whole 80-20 thing that I did. So that fits the first criteria. Now the second criteria, Jesus, I can't even hold pen. Second criteria is to spread out your risk. Spread out your risk. That's where diversification comes in. So there's two core beliefs to my investment philosophy. Income is the outcome. You want to have consistent income from the portfolio, whether it's through dividends, whether it's part of it being swing traded, and you want to be a long-term investor as well. So income is the outcome, and spread out your risk. What does spread out your risk means? And basically, in a nutshell, it means don't put all your eggs in one fucking basket, all right? Bad call. You want to spread out those eggs. Now look, I love the company Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a fantastic motherfucking company. Do I put all of my money into it? No. Because look, even though I know that they have a wide product pipeline, they've got the earnings for days, they got a wide moat as far as competition goes, the future is unpredictable. So you never want to concentrate all of your money into one single investment. Now, you could argue, like with my boy Charlie Munger, he does say that diversification is for ignorant people. I kind of agree to that, because we're all ignorant to the future, unless you're Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo knew what she knew everything, but yeah, I know you're ignorant to the future. So it's like you shouldn't. I think over concentration in one single company is a bad idea. Even though Charlie Munger did say that diversification's basically for the ignorant, he also was, I wouldn't say diversified, but he didn't have just one investment. He had maybe 6 or 7 or 8 in his own personal portfolio. It's been a while since I looked at Munger's portfolio. But one of the major points that you can take away from that is that he wasn't diversified, but he didn't put all of his eggs technically in one basket. He was smart enough to put his dough, to trade his money away for high value companies. And it goes with the old saying, and I love this saying, by the way, because it actually transformed the way I invest personally when I'm looking for individual companies. It is oh god, I'm turning into an old man. It is yes, buy high quality companies. It is, I would rather, it goes like this: I would rather buy a high quality company at a fair price than buy a fair company at an excellent price. And what he means by that is very, very simple. That you want quality of a company, even if you have to pay a little more to get access to it, right? That's important. So paying that money that you need to pay is good. So spreading out your risk, though, man, that's like one of the big keys here, at least from what I do. But yeah, it's so awesome. I love using Morgan Stanley as a backdrop here. This is great, especially with what I'm talking about. But yeah. Now, the question is, should you go in and talk to Morgan Stanley? It's up to you. I recommend financial advisors all the time. I think they're fantastic. As long as they're meeting their fiduciary obligation, as long as they got a good track record as far as like what they recommend themselves. Yeah, so I mean, I say, Morgan Stanley's probably got some cool shit to offer. And who knows? But using Morgan Stanley as a backdrop, this is kind of cool. It's neat. I'm still waiting for somebody to come out. I'm not on their property at least, but I'm waiting for somebody to like go full Karen on me, and nobody has. To their credit, they have not gone full Karen on me. Thank goodness. Usually, you would expect one to go a little full Karen on an individual who's doing a crazy show like this, but it's all live, and that's why we do this live. We like to. Not only do I spread out my risk, I spread my cheeks for that risk. Well, actually, no, because I spread out my risk, I don't have to spread my cheeks. It's really the key. So basically, I realized I'm like John D. Rockefeller. If John D. Rockefeller decided to turn his wiener into a mussy, that's the key. And but yeah, actually, it's funny. Fun fact is, I kind of use John D. Rockefeller's investment principles as well. He was, obviously he was a titan back in the day, even when there was less companies than there are today. But I ain't gonna lie, I model my philosophies after John D. Rockefeller in a lot of ways. He believed in spreading out your risk. He loved receiving dividends. He loved his long-term holdings, and smart dude, one of the smartest dudes. I'm a huge fan of the John D. Rockefeller philosophies. I love Warren Buffett's philosophies. Even though I disagree with Charlie on some things, my boy Munger, and actually Warren Buffett had very similar philosophies to Munger. They're both partners, so it made sense. I do disagree on the diversification thing, but you can't agree 100% with all of your heroes on that one. But yeah, spreading out your risk, man, because like I said, the future's always uncertain. And you never know what sort of laws will be put in place. Maybe they'll outlaw Coca-Cola products, or maybe Coca-Cola will do something really dumb. If I put all my money into Coca-Cola stock, maybe I'm fucking myself, because over concentration I think is really a bad thing in the long run. Even though I think Coca-Cola is going to be around for a long time, or even if it wasn't, it would get bought out by another company. I don't know. Anything can happen. whole thing. That's the whole reason diversification exists. It is a safety net for the ignorance of the future, because you don't know what the future holds. You just don't know. Let me see what the chat. Let's read the chat. Read some of the chats. Let's see. Sam says, my good friend Michael Garza, glad to see you. Take my advice for you to get some suntan. Oh, Jesus Christ, what are you even saying? Donald Trump not inviting you to the hard. Oh, man, if Donald Trump invited me to the White House, that'd be sick as hell, dude. I'd be like, yeah, dude, get me over there. I'm in the holiest. Is your mission no tax and bank account full in this channel? I mean, I don't really care if I pay tax on any investments that I have, to be quite honest. I get taxed on my dividends, you know, but they're all qualified dividends, and I'm not swing trading those companies. So yeah, I'm just basically, a lot of my portfolio is really a buy and hold portfolio. Like I said, 20% of it is swing traded, but that's only because it does generate a fine extra income when you swing trade 3 ETFs. That's like I said, that's my personal thought process on it. But let's see who else we got on here. Soul says, weren't those men you love working their employees into the grave? Oh, were they? I mean, I don't know how popular Morgan Stanley is I mean, I could look up their Glassdoor reviews, I guess, and see what employees have to say. But, you know, I have a feeling that Morgan Stanley probably does have a bit of an an old school philosophy to certain things to working, which is not bad. I mean, you know, I don't believe it's a good thing to overwork employees, by the way. I think that sometimes, especially if the job could be a little tedious, you know, I mean, these people are, a lot of these investment bankers, they're managing tons of people's accounts, you know, and, you know, I don't know how active everything is, but got to get this Zen water. I got this at Grocery Outlet because I'm a cheap bastard. And also I got it for the trip that we went on. So seeing Tom Green live, by the way, I know I talked about it on the show last night, but seeing Tom Green live was incredible. That was fun as fuck. He still got it, man. And the fact that he acknowledged my existence during the show was pretty badass. So, motherfucker. Ugh. Tons of notes. Tons of bloody notes. I'm going to try to... There we go. Oh, you know what I should do? Smart man would put his water bottle on top of it as an anchor. So, we're here, we're live, we're large, we're in charge, and we keep the mussy fresh. I keep my mussy as fresh as I can. But yeah, it's investing, you know, investing 101. One of the reasons why I lead a more comfortable life than I used to when I was younger is because I don't really buy anything. I'm not much of a consumer. I don't want to be. But... and at the end of the day, I don't understand why anybody would want to be a full-on consumer, you know. It's just not my bag. I'd rather, I focused all my priorities on pure investing. And that's the key, you know. Look, I don't want to be normal. I saw the way my family was. And honestly, you know, my family, you know, treated me like shit, to be quite honest. And I think that's why I'm contrarian, because, you know, they constantly fought with each other. They didn't try to do anything to improve their existence or anything around them. They just basically drank. And that's one of the reasons I don't drink as much as I used to, if we're going to be honest. I think drinking's just not a good thing. I used to drink like a fish when I was in my 20s, but when I got to my 30s, man, I just kind of stopped drinking so much. And I will admit, a lot of, I would say late 20s was kind of when I started really drinking a lot. And it only lasted like for a good 3-year span, thank goodness. And I think the best thing I ever did was stop being a DJ. That was the thing. Because I was a DJ at the Copacabana back in the day. And I guess my boy Marcelino was doing some shady shit, but it was fun. I enjoyed doing DJ stuff. I didn't really get paid much. I really got paid in shots of vodka and other shit. Or vodka. surprised nobody's out here doing like a smoke break or something. Dude, I feel like one of those like really lame ass reporters. You know, you guys ever see like those lame ass reporters that are like, I could actually try to do an emulation of it real quick. On Channel 69 News, I'm here with my fly unzipped, trying to talk about what's going on in the Morgan Stanley goddamn building. My mussy is not fresh, my mussy is dry, and I'm about to get pounded in the ass by security. Oh my God. No, that's an example of, that's my impression of any local news station. Any local news station on the ground. They have like this big old microphone and they're just like, well, today there was a guy masturbating right next to that dumpster right here. And it was me. Culprit has been found. But, yeah, overall though, I think I'm going to drink a little more water. Not only is my mussy dry, my voice is dry too. Jesus Christ. Let me see here. See if I got any important messages. Nope, no messages. All right. All right, let's take a look here and see what we got for comments. Asol says, weren't those men you love working their employees? Okay, an old school philosophy like borderline slave labor. It's a good comment, man. I appreciate it. I'm in the holiest. Hey, check out the book, Cracking the Code, the fascinating truth about taxation in America. It helps with tax account. Okay. I don't really give two shits about taxes. Like, I know that I have to pay them. And I have advanced software that I use to pay my taxes every year so I don't get audited. But yeah, I mean most of my side income is literally investments, but well, in YouTube. That's the side income. This I don't really consider work. I consider this just fun exhibitionism. That's kind of the whole point of the show. Get out in the sun. You know, that's why I got the unlimited data plan for Mint Mobile. Make sure you guys check it out. I'm a shill for Ryan Reynolds. I want to bang Ryan Reynolds the way my boy Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia is, because they bought a soccer team together and it's fucking tight. Tight as hell. It's tight as hell. You know, there's not a time for me to do accents because I'm not good at accents, but not accents, but impressions. Oh, you son of a bitch. The wind just got my notebook dirty. Honestly, I'm an idiot for putting it there. I could have put it in a better position. Like, I could have actually leaned it against this side right here. See kids, this is why you don't get an inflated ego. You start thinking you can hang outside of Morgan Stanley with your fly unzipped, which I don't have it unzipped. I do like saying that though. I look like Jeff Bezos, except for not bald. You know, I got that kind of like, I got that super sexy vest on to hide my gunt. And, yeah. And I'm doing the Captain Morgan stance like every fucking 5 minutes. Thank God. This is more of a comedy show and an investing show, so I'm all about, let's see, cracking the code. You know. Yeah, I don't know. I will say the tax code is ridiculous. I am not a fan of the overall tax code. That is one thing. You know, talk to a tax expert, obviously, with any tax-related questions, but I do have major criticisms of the overly complicated tax code. It should be very simple, by the way. Taxes should be extremely simple. And I say, fuck it, get rid of income tax altogether. You know, and I'll tell you why. Well, you're probably wondering, what we would replace income tax with? Are you crazy? Well, I mean, if they do federal income tax, why don't they just do federal sales tax instead? I'm not a big fan of sales tax, by the way. I live in Oregon. There's no sales tax here. So I would be a little miffed, but if that meant I didn't have to pay federal income tax, it would make my tax life a lot easier, if we're going to be honest. And another thing is, get rid of fucking capital gains tax, dude. Get rid of it. Get rid of it completely. I'm tired of getting taxed. Even though I don't get too high of a taxation on my shit, I hate getting taxed. That's just one of the reasons why I track all my business miles for content creation and DoorDash shit. So that way I don't have much of a tax bill when it comes to my 1099 work. So I live a double life. I'm W2. I'm a W2 employee, and I'm a 1099 independent contractor. I'm leading a double life, you guys, with working, which I enjoy. I mean, the IRS already knows. They already know that I do delivery driving and shit. They already know that they already know I do what I do. But this is a good show. It's a hell of a show. Oh, there's a sweet dog. Hello, doggy. That's so cute. Oh yeah. But it's really good. By the way, I feel like I'm doing product placement, but yeah, I literally just got these over at a grocery outlet because I'm naturally a cheap ass. I need more money for investing, so I gotta. And I usually only get portable water when I'm on trips, which saw the Tom Green show. That was pretty sexy. My boy's back, dude. My boy's back. He's killing it. He brought his dog on stage, which was pretty hilarious and it was pretty fun. I think somebody just yelled at me. They probably saw that I was filming. I think he said something like, I think he said something along the lines of, he said something about dogs, and I don't think it was a good thing. But that's funny though. I'm half expecting somebody, don't want my tripod to flip over, so I'm gonna hold it for a second. The wind today is unbelievable. I'm gonna keep this kind of keep it close to the vest, just in case. I don't want my tripod to. Oh, you know what I could do if I'm smart? I could actually put my backpack next to this, and if it does tumble on over, I mean, yeah, whatever. It does the trick. It does exactly what I want it to do. But in the latest scandal in Morgan Stanley, I need to come up with an accent though. I'm terrible. I don't even have a very good English accent. My regular accent's just god awful. I sound kind of like a wannabe Alex Jones. You know, like Alex Jones. You know. Actually, you know, that would be a fun little bit. Just do like an Alex Jones style reporting on Morgan Stanley. I could do like, you know, here I started to think the chemicals in the water were. I think I may have found who was responsible for the chemicals in the water turning the freaking frogs gay. Morgan Stanley. No, just allegedly. Allegedly. I don't want to get sued. Allegedly. I say allegedly. Did I go to the Diddy parties? I don't know. Did I? I don't know. I feel like what I'm doing is a freak off competition right now. Like this feels like something that would have been in the freak offs, you know, like you're probably wondering, well, did Diddy send me here or did LeBron? Well, Diddy's in jail, so LeBron is the NBA Diddy. So I'm assuming LeBron sent me here. We'll just assume that, like, allegedly, LeBron will say, well, allegedly. All I gotta say is allegedly, and I don't know if that's how it actually works, but this show is a comedy show, by the way. It's a comedy show / investing show. It's really it's a comedy show. Wait, hold on. It's an investment show. It's a show about investing that's masked as a comedy. That's the best way to describe this show. I do love comedy, though. This is the closest thing to stand-up comedy. The only audience I got are you live streamers, and even you guys are losing interest. Speaking of interest, lower the goddamn interest rates. I want free money. I want to borrow. I've got a good credit score. Like, so the great thing is when you have a good credit score, and I do. I have an incredibly good one. I brag about my credit score like I brag about my cock size. I don't talk about my cock. I talk about my credit score. My credit score is 760. My cock size is 2 inches. But no, actually, I think last time I checked, my credit score should be up to like 770. It might have dropped a little bit because I signed up for a couple credit cards at random. Mainly because, I don't know. I don't use any of my credit cards. I just kind of sign up for them, get the sign up bonus, and then once I'm done with that, I kind of just let it sit in a vault. I throw the credit card in a vault and never look at it again. I still keep an eye out, make sure nobody's using it illegally, but I love cashback reward credit cards, man, because I pay off all my credit cards every 2 weeks. So I just don't believe. I think holding a balance on a credit card is stupid. It's stupid as shit. Now, I'm pretty fucking dumb, but I'm not dumb enough to hold a balance on a credit card. Fuck that. The interest rates are obscene. I'm fine holding an interest rate on an auto loan because I was able to get my auto loan for a pretty decent interest rate. But yeah, if you're holding any sort of balance on any sort of financial product that has 25% interest rates, shit, absolute trash. But yeah, overall, you know, I'm really shocked. I have not been kicked out. Like this, I mean, I don't expect to get like kicked out or anything, but this is like so cool. I could do maybe next to their dumpster. I don't want to be on their property. That is their property, and I respect property, by the way. But I do enjoy using the Morgan Stanley building as a prop for this show. I should do the show because I love being outdoors, and this is close. I could do an exercise video right now in front of you guys. I could do like kung fu moves and shit, and do like Clip it, chat. Oh, dude, the viewership has dropped off. What the hell? It's because I wasn't showing my mussy enough. That's the problem. So we got one viewer. All right. I'm gonna give this a second here. I'm gonna push this down. I did actually a DoorDash, just a little bit DoorDash yesterday, which was kind of nice. This is so cool. Like, I love doing this show in front of the Morgan Stanley building. This is like the most badass moment of my life. Actually, no, I've got more badass moments, but this is fun. This is fun. I love using different buildings as backdrops and being able to use the tripod. Thank you to the tripod makers. I don't even know what brand of tripod this is, but it's pretty flippin' dope, if you ask me. I got this at Goodwill back in the day, and I got like two. Well, hold on. I got one. I got two total tripods. This one is the one I use the most. What I need to do is I need to put some anchor weights at the bottom. I need to start bringing little anchor weights with me, so that way, just on windy days like this, because if I start seeing it start flopping over, I'm gonna caress it and grab it or something. So you never know. I mean, it's not the most heavyweight. No, I even could put little bean bags on this thing. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Maybe we could take a look in their dumpster and see if they got anything, like any paperweights or something. You guys think I should dumpster dive? No. I mean, I'm not above it. I've dumpster dived before. It's fun. So we used to, speaking of a fun story, so I used to, back in the day when I used to work at JCPenney at the mall here, I used to, my buddy Sonny and I, it's a different Sonny. It's not Sonny Bales, but it's a different Sonny. I can't remember his last name, but this Sonny in particular worked at JCPenney with me, and he would find stuff in the actual dumpster, because we shared the same dumpster with GameStop, and it was really fucking cool. because we'd find like things like Bluetooth headsets and shit, and the only thing they did was they just kind of like cut off part of it, like part of the what do you call it? Like there's little USB cables that came with it, and they cut those off. But like overall, there was still a whole Bluetooth headset that still worked in this, and it was pretty flippin' dope. So yeah. But yeah, this is the spot, man. This is the spot right here. Look at it. Fine, it's one of those buildings because Morgan Stanley, their logo is not flashy in any way. Like, it's very basic. It just says Morgan Stanley. I don't even know what the font type is. If I were to even try to figure out what the font type actually is, but that's Morgan Stanley for you, man. It's Morgan Stanley. I take it none of their employees actually take a smoke break. It is possible though. They don't have any employees in there at all. It's all AI. It's all robots. Well, hopefully some of these robots have a nicotine addiction. That would be the goal. But yeah, overall it's very fun. But yeah, it's private property, so I don't even know if they even like clients in. I just think it's a building for them to work in. I think you have to schedule an appointment with them. I could give them a call. That's another thing. I forgot to bring my other phone, because if I would have brought my other phone, I could have did a hotspot to this, and then gave them a ring, you know. Ring with some bling, you know. Let's see. But yeah, see if I got any other. I check my messages real fast, folks. I'll be BRB. So we're an hour and 7 minutes into the show. I don't know how long I'll feel like doing a show in front of Morgan Stanley, but as long as I get to stand up, and you know, it's kind of the goal, is just do a stand-up show, because I prefer not to sit down when I do a show. But look at that. See, how many flips of this bottle can I do? Hold on, let's do full flip. I gotta be able to grab it by the cap. See, it's not a full flip. Hold on. There we go. That's a full flip. That's what I'm talking about. You know, it's sad. I know you guys probably can't see this building. There's a building behind. So like right here you see Morgan Stanley, but there's also a building right there. It used to be the old World newspaper. And it's wild. It just because that building, it used to be so huge. It really used to be super large. You know, nobody reads the paper anymore. So, and why would anybody? You know, I get it, man. There's no reason, and even most local news, like the World newspaper still exists, but at the same time, the newspaper industry got destroyed, and you can never anticipate when certain industries are going to just go away, right? So, who knows? Morgan Stanley's style. I don't know. Morgan Stanley, there's always going to be need for investment banking, I think, to some degree. To what degree, though, to some degree, I have zero clue. But this is so much fun, though. I could do an interview next to the old World newspaper and talk about the decline of the newspaper industry. That would be a hell of a show. In fact, that would actually be a very fun show. But, yeah, overall, it's good shit. What time is it here? Oh, it's 11:11. Hell yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, let's see how much battery life we got here. We're at 45%. We're good. I'll go find a place, charge it up. Sit on a bench somewhere, probably. But yeah, overall, this is the place. What do I think about the place? I mean, I've barely done my research on Morgan Stanley. The only thing I know about them is just, like I said, the 2008 financial crisis, and I know that they were a major player, a major holder of mortgage-backed securities, which was fantastic. But yeah, at the end of the day, the problem was, and it was frustrating because I think the real culprit was not the inventor of the mortgage-backed security. The real culprit was the ratings agencies not doing their job. And the problem with ratings agencies is they didn't, in a weird way, they do have a fiduciary responsibility to give honest ratings on things. And they looked at these securities, they looked at the mortgages in these securities and said, hey, these are okay. And a lot of this is on like Fair Isaac, Standards and Poor's. A lot of this is really on the, you can't even really blame Morgan Stanley. You could blame because a lot of them are just buying what the ratings say. And the ratings on these were like AAA rated. We're talking about like ones that were AAA rated, should have been C rated, should have been B rated, And so, I mean, well, it's what most people would do is they would blame Morgan Stanley, and who knows, maybe everybody played a role. But I think the root cause of the problem was the ratings agencies lying about the quality of the mortgages in those mortgage-backed securities, and that a lot of they didn't even do income verification for a lot of these, and that's huge. And it wasn't, and also it's a lot of the banks giving out the loans too. So there's a lot of, so it's a few things. One, banks giving out shitty loans was actually really the root of the problem. But what compounded it, what could have stopped it, what could have stopped the whole thing was the ratings agencies realizing how shitty these were. And they did. But the only problem was a lot of the ratings agencies were competing with each other, and they didn't want anybody else to go to their competition. So because of that, they were giving bullshit ratings. And I mean, the ratings agencies have a responsibility to stop shit like that in their tracks. And look, the banks, oh man, I'm sorry, giving out shitty loans like that. And when I say shitty loans, I mean giving loans to people who just couldn't afford those. And it was taking advantage of people in a way that I felt like it's really unethical. But also there has to be some responsibility to the people who were accepting these loans too. They had to have known that they couldn't afford these loans. I mean, look at me. I'll give you an example. I know for a fact that I could probably afford a certain type of loan for a house, for a 30-day mortgage, right? But at the exact same time, you need to know what you can afford. You have to do the math yourself before a bank tells you it's okay to do it. And there are more safeguards now after the crisis, I hope. I haven't looked into it, but you would like to think that after that crisis that there'd be more safeguards for people getting loans, and can they afford to get this house? What should be their budget range? That sort of thing. What is their credit score? I think credit score is a huge indicator. I'm fine with credit scores existing. I think it teaches you responsibility to a degree. And that's why I have good credit, man. So, yeah, best way to keep your credit. If you guys want advice on credit scores, which I can't really give advice, but I'll let you know what I do. So none of this, talk to a financial advisor, obviously, but what I do to keep my credit score up is very simple. I pay off all my cards in 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. I mean, it's not a really hard formula. It's really just pay off your balances every 2 weeks. See your credit card as an extension to your bank account, because if you start using a credit card the way the bank wants you to, you're basically taking this fucking Zen water bottle and shoving it right up your ass. Don't. Holding a balance on a credit card, in my opinion, is as close to financial suicide as you can get. And also, maxing out credit cards is fucking stupid. Don't do that. Yeah, that's the God honest truth. And Daddy speaks it. I'm a zaddy, by the way. Look how fancy I am. I'm a total zaddy. Look at that trick. See that trick? Oh shit. I'm a motherfucking swan, because I got a long neck. Birds. But yeah, no, go, we got it, man. Oh. But overall, it's like, you know, trying to think, maybe I could actually do it in front of the building. You guys think I should take, audience, do you guys think I should take this to the front of the building? Maybe not go on their property, obviously, but stay on the sidewalk? I mean, I could. And fuck it, I got unlimited data, so I could do this all day. I can't help it, I got that zaddy energy. Michael Donaldson says, enjoying your day off? Absolutely, dude. My last day of vacation, I just want to spend it outside. We were already in Eugene last Sunday and Saturday and shit, so being able to do a show outside of Morgan Stanley. I'm not going to get any comment from anybody, obviously, because they're employees. They got a good job. They wouldn't want to risk losing their job to talk to a guy like me, unless they're like done with the place. I could find a disgruntled employee who's basically just like, I don't care if I get fired. Maybe I could. That'd be fucking sick as shit. I could lie and tell you guys I'm in the New York. I'm outside of the New York Morgan Stanley building, but that would be a lie. That would be a lie. It's fun though. I'm having a good time. We're already an hour and 16 minutes. Dang. I could sit right next to the dumpster though. Try to dumpster dive. I could do incognito dumpster drive. But yeah, this is where it's at, man. But no, I really don't think. Here's the thing. I don't know how many loans were given out by Morgan Stanley. I will say this though. They might have been playing both sides, and it's really tough to say. But yeah, overall, you can't really fully blame Morgan Stanley, but you can blame some of the banks that were giving out the loans. You can definitely blame the ratings agencies, because they could have, looked at some of the mortgages. And, just like Michael Burry said in that film, I don't even think the bankers know what they were making when they made this. So it's like, the lawyers, I should say. But no, I do enjoy doing shows like this outside of a financial investment bank like Morgan Stanley. But I don't think they're really in the business. Last time I checked, of giving out. I think they give out business loans and shit, but. But yeah, who knows? They're really not a company that makes headlines a lot, and I don't know if they suppress the information, or maybe most employees do like working for Morgan Stanley. I mean, who the hell knows? It's tough to say. But this is the show. This is the type of show we do. We try to go wherever we can. I mean, wherever we're probably not wanted, but and it's fun doing shows like this. People going through are probably wondering, what the hell is this dude doing? You guys want to see me hit pine cones with a water bottle? Check this out. All right, here we go. Oh, come on, man! Try one more time here. And knock this one out of the park. Watch this. Bang! There we go. Okay. So, where were we? Where were we talking about? So look, overall, 08 financial crisis, you could point the fingers at just about everybody. You could blame the people who were actually applying for these loans, knowing they probably shouldn't. if you know that you don't have the income for a loan, that's fraud, in my opinion. Now, if you're not doing income verifications on these mortgages, that's fraud. We could say that. So there's two parties already fraudulent: the banks and the people accepting the loans. That's fraud. The ratings agencies, basically giving these securities good ratings. I mean, these mortgages good ratings that were within these securities. It was rough. It was a really rough situation. And am I against? Can one say that I'm against that shit? Nah. I'm not a big fan of fraud. Not a fan of it at all. But so everybody played a role. And Morgan Stanley played a role. Are they the most responsible? I mean, I don't know. They're responsible. I think everybody who got a loan, who knew they shouldn't have got the loan, by the way. The banks giving out the loans, ratings agencies, and I think at some point even Morgan Stanley knew that through the grapevine that a lot of these mortgage-backed securities that they were holding were shit too. So they had to find a way to either offload them. A lot of these, there were a lot of companies that were doing fire sales to some degree, getting rid of a lot of these worthless mortgage-backed securities, and it was awesome. I mean, I hate fraud, but I mean, honestly, the story behind all of it's pretty intense, and so I mean, overall, who would be to blame in that sort of situation? Don't really know. Don't really, have any clue. But yeah. So I think this is Morgan Stanley's a good backdrop, for this show. I mean, we talk about investments. We also talk about butt stuff on this show all the time. Mainly butt stuff. I think we probably talk about mussies and bussies, and we do talk about the stuff we probably shouldn't talk about on YouTube more than anything. But what do we do? What are we supposed to do? Well, you guys want a tour? We'll take a bit of a tour of the place, and we'll figure that part of it out. See, I got a message, I think. All right, let's see. Oh man, so there's a new headline. Hold on, let's take a look here. Let's see. IRS lost 31% of tax auditors, and dude, that's awesome. Here's the thing about Yahoo Finance. I think they're probably trying to spin that as a bad thing, but honestly, I say dismantle the IRS completely. Get rid of the IRS, because honestly, but it's fucking the mafioso. It's the mafioso. But yeah, let's see. Marfan says, is this the guy that posted on Reddit for... What the hell? What the fuck? Oh, good. Good lord. Got spammers in the chat. It's okay. I deserve the spam. But, give you guys a tour. I can't, obviously, because they probably won't let me in. But... here we go. So, now we're not done with the show yet. Don't worry. I'm just kind of putting the tripod into tiny mode. Tiny mode. I'll probably find another place to go do a video here in a bit, but today is kind of like just get outside and make a little bit of dough. I love making money off these YouTube videos. That's the one thing that's fun. People pay for this level of lack of investigative journalism. This is like the most lazy. I'm the laziest journalist of all time. I'm even more lazy than oh no, I'm just lazy. There we go. And we'll shorten this a little bit. This thing's a little high up. But we'll put this in my pocket. My pocket. What you want? Probably go find a nice little bench here in a bit, but we're gonna take a quick tour. Try to get a tour at least to the Morgan Stanley building. All right. Oh boy. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna go walk around here. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. It's a beautiful day today. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for a neighbor. All right, let's see here. So yeah, private property, no trespassing. They don't want my kind around here. Rightfully so, by the way. And then, I don't know what's going on in there, but they got really nice shrubbery. Pretty good looking place. And then that's probably one of the back entrances, maybe. Or that might be actually the main entrance. So that right there. And then we got the side of the building. Customer parking only. See, like, it says violators will towed away. So this is proof that this is Morgan Stanley. Yeah, there we go. The Morgan Stanley. As you can see, it's the side of the building. You know, I'm pretty sure that a lot of their bankers are annoyed with me at this point, but this is the greatness of Morgan Stanley. Like I said, everybody played a role in the '08 financial crisis. I really don't know the extent of Morgan Stanley's business anymore, or what they do, but I guess the best assumption is I probably should have done research before doing this, but I was like, fuck it, I don't really care that much. There's this area over here. You got the birds. Morgan, and that's SHN Consulting. Oh. So it's two buildings. Two buildings. But anyway, one's Morgan Stanley, the other is a consulting building. Pretty dope. Then right down here is kind of like, it's whatever. I'm a little sad I didn't get an interview with any of the bankers. It's a sad day. See here. Got. So this is boutique. They got everything under the sun out here. There's a barber shop over here. Yeah, this is more of the downtown area. I think we've kind of covered these areas before. I'm not too sure. So this looks like a play center. Then we got So It Goes Coffee Shop over here. We got a lot of different spots. But yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of the downtown area. Kind of cut through some of these parking lots real quick. Yeah, this is kind of a few buildings over here. I don't know what some of these buildings are about, but how much of that federal money do you think went to a Diddy White Party? So I'm kind of glad Doge has been getting rid of all the federal funding to all these random agencies. So I think we used to have, what was it, like 4 federal agencies when the founding of the country happened, and now we got like 4,000. Tell me it's, I mean, that sounds like some money laundering right there, dude. Hell yeah. It's absolute money laundering. Without a doubt. This is cool. Hell yeah. Find a good spot to set up for a bit. All right, so this is the hall building. Pretty big building. Very large, very in charge. It's good shit, but yeah, this is the hall building, man. Little I might need to sit away from the sun. Let's see, there's got to be a better spot to sit. I think they used to have a little bench over there, but that's okay. But yeah, this is where it's at. Kind of a nice little spot to chill, and yeah, it's fun doing a little thing outside of the Morgan Stanley building. I probably could have. Yeah, it's like one of their. They've got like 2 agencies in that building. I didn't realize there was another one. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I think I was standing by the employee parking lot or something like that. Well, since I'm chilling out, might as well set up the camera here. It's a good spot to chill. There we go. Perfecto. And there we are. All right. Oh, I should probably charge the old phono. But yeah, I figure this is a good populated area to do a show. I might get a random interviewer. You never know. Sometimes people might interview, some people might not. I got the handy dandy battery charger though to keep the show going for a little while longer. And let's plug this in. There we go. Perfect. And we're charging. Sweet. So yeah, this is like I said, this is a fun little show to do when you don't got anything going on. So I got the day off today. Oh, feeling good. So this is a little spot downtown. Yeah, overall, solid. Could use a little renovating, but it's beautiful either way. I will say they've definitely gentrified Coos Bay for the most part. It's definitely now more tolerable for hipsters. But yeah. Probably should find a bathroom here in a second. I might go, there's a porta potty pretty close by. I'll probably end up taking a piss in there real quick. But this is the show. This is the greatness of this, lack of greatness, I should say, of the show. I admit I do gotta pee here in a bit, but I don't want to take you guys into the bathroom with me. Gotta do a piss break. But yeah, I got the phone charging here. Let's see how many people we got live. We got live and in charge. But yeah, this is more of the more centralized area. A lot of more foot traffic, and Hall Building definitely has quite a few businesses out there. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I think like different services and things like that. Some of the radio stations and stuff. And there's a really cool mortgage place. Like give out like mortgages and stuff, like real estate group or whatever. They're pretty dope. But yeah, it's good shit. But yeah, it's kind of. Gotta give me a second. My eyes need to refocus. It's pretty cool though. And anytime I can just be outside, I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm like a dog. Oh man. Whew. We got one viewer so far. I mean, we had a lot of viewers earlier, but let's see. I might go right here. But yeah, the show has grown, shockingly, which is kind of crazy to me. I didn't expect this show to grow the way it's grown, and being able to take the streaming elsewhere. It's really cool. Super fun though. Super fun. But yeah, this is the Hall Building. This is I could take you guys to another few places, but I might actually end the stream here in a little bit because I really gotta pee. And but yeah, we were hanging outside the Morgan Stanley building. MMGA, make the moon great again. But I will catch you guys later. Thank you guys for thank you guys for tuning into the show. I'll probably do another stream here in a bit. I might just go down to the boardwalk, chill out for a little, and we'll see what else we want to do. Later, guys.